Well, welcome everybody to the Resilient Living Podcast. I'm here with my co host, Jared Wilson, and today we're going to be talking about using power tool batteries and power tools as a means of preparedness. So you might have more preparedness in your life than you thought you did.
I know. So let's go through my garage. I've got like so many because I inherited DeWalt stuff, and so like my garage is just DeWalt. I'm like,
Nice.
wow, I'm actually prepared for a lot of different potential eventualities. So let's dive into it.
Yeah. Did you inherit the DeWalt 20 volts or the old 18-volt stuff?
The 20s, the
Okay.
max, yeah,
Yep. Good. Yeah, because you can get adapters, but they work better
yeah,
with the actual
they do.
20 volt. So yeah, I've got a lot of Craftsman 20 volt, which
Yeah,
is what I kind of standardized on because Craftsman is DeWalt with a different skin on it.
yes.
So
There, a lot of them are really
yeah,
manufactured. Yeah, whether it's Milwaukee, Ryobi, DeWalt, whatever. It's There's only a couple manufacturers. We were talking about, computers. There's only a couple manufacturers out there. There's lots of different names, rebranded stuff, but there's only a couple manufacturers.
yeah, exactly. And there's different parts inside to some extent, but
Yeah.
when I dug into it, it was pretty obvious that especially the brushless stuff from
Yeah.
Craftsman was
Yeah.
just DeWalt XR at like half the price.
Yeah. And the batteries are so horribly expensive. I mean, when you go to the store and it's cheaper to buy a drill with the battery than to buy just the battery, that's frustrating. So I
Mhm.
have a lot of extra drills. You know,
Yeah.
get
Well,
different options. Got the impact, you got the
yep. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you can get, and tools are really handy, but you're right, they're really expensive. I was getting my tools basically, they would run sales where you get a free 2 what was it? 2 free 4 amp hour batteries and a fast charger when
ooh,
you bought one, like, $100 tool. So,
done.
like yeah. So I just
Yes,
collected tools and
please.
batteries.
Yep.
Exactly.
Well, and I highly recommend, like, when you're, whenever you're at garage sailing or wherever, if you can standardize, like you were saying, it makes your life so much simpler. And we'll get into it, like with all of the accessories. If you have to buy just one adapter type, it makes everything
Mm.
so much easier. So yeah, no, standardize.
Yep, absolutely standardize, and then if you do have something that you need, like a tool that, the company that you've standardized on doesn't use, you can get the adapters I was mentioning earlier,
True.
and I have quite a few use cases for that. Sometimes when I've done that because I like a brand like Ryobi, I don't really wanna carry them as my primary tool,
Right.
but they have so many tool types,
They do.
um, that I got an adapter between Craftsman and Ryobi,
Nice.
and I was able to get really inexpensive tools that do exactly what I need them to that Craftsman doesn't make. So,
Nice.
there's benefit to that as well.
Absolutely.
So, we're gonna kinda go through a list of different things that you can do with these systems that are, preparedness based or preparedness minded, things you can think about as far as having ready if there's a power outage or whatever the case may be. Um, Something that I've come across a few times, and I'm sure Jared, with you being in Tennessee, you've seen it too. If you're out driving on back roads, a lot of times you're driving around a lake or something, and it's so hilly, and there's so many rivers and things that you might not have an alternative route home.
Oh yeah.
And I've run into that and had, my electric pole saw in my trunk. And so
Nice.
instead of an hour and a half backtrack, I was able
Yeah,
to
yeah. Yeah, because you come
really
around a
rush.
corner and trees down across the road. It
Mhm.
happens, like, fairly frequently, especially, we had ice storms or whatever, and, yeah, stuff happens, and, yeah, you can bust out your good old trusty steel, that takes so much effort to manually cut up a tree. It's really nice to have that electric and just zzz,
Yep.
done.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to let it warm up. You don't have to make sure you have mixed fuel. You don't have to have
Right.
any of those things.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. You're not gonna go cut a giant tree or be a lumberjack with an electric chainsaw.
But you can
Um,
buck one up and get it out of the way and clear the road enough to get through.
Yeah. I even know quite a few, arborists who use them anytime they're climbing.
Oh yeah. I
It
would I mean, I was thinking about that because I know guys who did that and they'd have burns all up and down their legs because the exhaust would hit it inevitably
Mhm.
gonna hit it, and they would wear the big, thick, heavy leather, whatever reinforced
Chaps.
chaps, yeah. They don't have to, because the
Mhm.
electric, as soon as you're done with it, you turn it off and it's off, and
Yeah.
then go to work, you can do whatever, and then you pick it back up and it's good to go again. It's great.
Yep. The chain doesn't run as fast either, which is really
Mm,
nice, because that
sure.
residual chain spin is one of the dangers of using chainsaws.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
they're still dangerous. They're still a
Yes.
chainsaw.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I mean, Milwaukee, DeWalt both make a pretty nice, cordless chainsaw that
Mhm.
lasts quite a while and is really great for certain circumstances.
Absolutely.
So, Jared, do you want to start us off on just on our list of things you can do preparedness wise?
Sure. Yeah. And we had talked about just before the podcast, like USB power adapters. So with the wonderful standardization of USB, I was thinking about this. Like I remember having this like spaghetti monster of adapter that went to all the different cell phones because like back in the day when we were younger, every cell phone manufacturer had a proprietary connector, and
Hmm.
you had to have this like horrible, nasty spaghetti monster to be able to connect to your buddy's phone, charger. So we don't have that anymore. We have USB standard. And if at all possible, if you can run your everything off of USB, then here you go. You got your DeWalt or your Ryobi or whatever. You plug that on top of it, and now you're able to charge up your phone. You're able to charge up your heated gloves, your whatever, your radio, whatever you got. That's
Flashlight.
such a perfect thing to throw in your vehicle because so yeah, so imagine you've got your DeWalt chainsaw, and then so you've got a battery or two. You've got this. We'll come to the other side of the equation where you need some way of charging your DeWalt's batteries, and so we'll cover that too. But like it makes your vehicle so much more prepared to handle situations and circumstances. It's absolutely, uh, I'd say essential, really, honestly. Like it's really, um, I won't say negligent because I don't want people to feel bad for not having it, but like if you have any of these batteries type systems, throw a couple in your car just to have, throw them in your trunk.
Yep. Yeah, as Geico says, so easy a caveman could do it.
It's right. I mean, yeah, and so like, yeah, like because yeah, you got little compressors. Like, how many
Mhm.
times, like maybe you can't fix the flat, but you can keep going until you can get someplace where you could get the flat fixed. If you can have a little compressor in there, it works.
Yeah. I was thinking of this podcast. I was walking
Yeah,
through an aisle at Walmart and went through the vehicle aisle,
nice.
and
Okay.
because I wanted to see, what does a patch kit cost? Just a really
Yeah,
crappy tire patching kit.
sure.
It's under $4
Yeah,
and it has 3 patches. Now,
yeah.
I wouldn't recommend getting the cheapest one,
No.
but it would work in a pinch, and I've actually used them.
Yep.
I've stopped and used them, but I always carry just an inexpensive but decent patch kit in my vehicle and a cordless inflator. Um, and
Yes.
I can pretty much always fix a flat unless it's some, major sidewall issue or something.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, I'll say I can't. I've probably replaced, fixed dozen. Well, when I worked at the motorcycle shop, guys would come in with their bikes that had, nails through them, and they had fixed it and they gotten
Mhm.
it to the shop because they were prepared. They had a patch kit, and no, it was ugly, but it worked. It got them
Yeah.
there. Can't
Well, and a
complain.
patch kit on a vehicle, if you do it right, is a permanent fix.
Yeah.
As long as it's not too big of a hole
Yep.
or, like we said, in the sidewall. So it's actually if it's done right, it's a safe fix as well.
It is.
So, but the other thing with the inflators and the mini air compressors is that they are able to run. You can inflate toys at the beach or you know
Yeah.
other, air mattresses,
Air
things like that.
mattresses, yes, I've
Yeah,
done that. I was like, "Oh, the" because you go camping and you have to it
right,
is the worst. It's like, "Oh, this is brilliant. I can just plug it in and it goes, like, this is amazing."
right. And who knows what like BPAs and other
Yeah.
biphenyls you're
Yeah, right.
inhaling as you do that.
Nastiness.
Yep, exactly. So
Uh,
yeah, the USB, I mean, um,
agreed, Rocky, patch and plug kit, yes.
right. Yeah, the USBs, we could go on for a very long time on the different things that you can charge with USB. You know, the
Mhm.
things that you can run on USB from flashlights to communications to,
Yep.
you know, and we'll kind of cover this later too, but even like heated blankets or heated
Yes.
jackets. So,
Yep.
you know, your power goes out and you have no heating option. Well, a heated blanket run off of, I'll put it up here, one of
Yeah.
these
Yep.
will last you a couple of nights. And you can recharge it during the day, hopefully, if you have some type of solar or something.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it'll keep you out of a pinch, or if you're stuck in a snowdrift, what a huge, huge thing to have to keep yourself comfortable.
And so much better than running a internal combustion engine and, carbon monoxiding yourself into oblivion.
Right.
Like, I wanna go to heaven. I don't wanna go that way.
At least you'd be fairly oblivious as to what was
That's true.
happening.
Just fall asleep and never wake up. Yep.
So another thing you can get is that's similar to what we just showed on the USB devices is you can get a little head that's similar,
Yep.
but it's a little
AC.
inverter. Mhm.
Mhm.
So it'll output, max 150 watts, and I
Yeah,
would
they're
never
they're
try to
they're
use that.
lightweight. Yeah.
So
But
basically, your option there is
works.
like running a light, running a little fan,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
stuff like that, or charging up. If you have to jerry rig something and that's the only way you can get your laptop going, or
Sure.
I wouldn't recommend it. It's not a sine wave inverter, but it'll get you there in a pinch.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
other small hustle, yeah, lights. I think that's pretty much it. But obviously, with those, the bigger the battery, the better. Um,
Yeah. Right.
you want a fairly large battery to keep those inverters running because they're not going to be very efficient.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
So another item under the kind of charging and power systems, I suppose, is the car jump starter.
Yeah. We
Um,
were just talking about that beforehand.
yeah. So there's a good one that I know of, and there's some really bad ones that I know of.
Mm.
Jared, do you want to cover that?
I've got my own, that I've used a couple of times. I've even, jump started my tractor with it, and it's worked quite well. Um, I got connected with I'm trying to remember the brand. What brand is it that you know of that's a decent one? Maybe it's the same.
So Ryobi has a decent one that
Okay.
has internal capacitors.
Right?
So that's one that I know is decent. As far as bad ones, there's the do-it-yourself variety where you're mating
Well, there's
a
always that.
yeah, where you're mating a 20-volt battery directly with your 12 to 14-volt car battery.
Yeah.
Wouldn't recommend that. And there's kind of there, and you were talking about how people have used like forks to go in the terminals and touch
They
the
just
batteries.
stuff them in
Yep.
and bend them out so they can hit the terminals of the battery. Like, I mean, yes, but like,
Yeah.
oh,
Not a good
not
idea.
recommended. If
No,
you're in a
because you're
pinch and you
dumping.
need to, but yeah, all of that power through, yeah, a dead short. It's
Mhm.
just it's sheer power, raw power going through a conductive thing. So that's a heater element, basically.
Yep. And
Not
you're
recommended.
you're overamping your battery. You're gonna pull way more amps than it was designed to.
Yeah, because it's going to go all.
Mhm.
It just pegs the whole. Yeah, it's throwing everything it's got at it.
Yep. And my concern about some of the ones that like if you just go on Amazon and look up, drill battery jump starter or something like that, a
It's
lot of
basically
them
a
are
that it's a dead short.
yeah, it's gonna be pretty much the same thing, I think, in a lot of them. So I wouldn't recommend them unless it's made by the manufacturer who makes the battery.
Sure. Yeah.
And for a lot of these things, it doesn't have to be Craftsman brand to work well, but
Yep.
there's some things I'd be concerned about if it was made by a different manufacturer, and one of them is the car jump starters.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're gonna have an internal battery management system that's going to limit over amperage. It's gonna limit, it's gonna have a thermal protective circuit. It's gonna and so if they made it, they know how to bypass it. They know how to utilize their battery to the max capacity that that battery can for that application. The brand that I was thinking of was Noco Boost. Um,
Okay.
I've seen those things. They've got Noco Boosts that are huge, capable of doing like the like big diesels. Um, I've seen those things crank some things around. So yeah, I'm potentially looking into getting them in the shop. I haven't gotten them yet, but yeah.
That'd be cool. Here's one of the dangers. Here's a
Yep.
do-it-yourself variety.
Yep. Yeah. Not recommended.
Nope. I have used not quite this bad, but I've set up a system for my kids when they used to have Power Wheels.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because our yard is not flat enough for Power Wheels, and we don't have
Sure.
paved anything.
Right.
So we needed to juice it up a bit. So I had a 9 amp hour 20-volt battery that I hooked up.
Oh, that'd do it.
And yeah, it worked pretty well until it stripped all the gears out.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. There's that.
It lasted for a few months. It's fun.
Oh, that's not bad.
No,
Now we
it
just need
probably
to
would have happened anyways.
turn some steel on my mill and make you some new gears and
I don't think
'cause
it'd be worth it. Something
you're
else would break next.
oh, that's true. Yeah. There's some pretty good retrofit kits for those Power Wheels.
Yeah, that's true. Have you ever seen the Power Wheels racing?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It looks so much fun.
It's kinda like stock car where I think you can basically swap out everything, but
Right. Yeah,
I don't
right.
know, the
It's just a
steering wheel or
shell.
something.
It's just
Right,
a it looks like a Power Wheels. It is not.
right. But
Oh
it's still
gosh.
entertaining watching full-grown men
Yep.
drive around in circles on them.
It's Mario Kart in real life.
Yep.
But yeah, no, like I love LED lighting. It is so nice to be able to have a decent amount of lumens output and not burning up those big, remember the big 6-volt batteries, those
Mhm.
gigantic things, and they produce the just dullest light. It was this huge battery and the light was just awful.
Yeah. They
And now
lasted for a while, but it
oh
was
yeah, they last forever. But now,
right,
you can have this and it, punches a light. I can see things at the end of my driveway, which is, fairly long, 100 yards away and no problem.
yep.
Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the lights that, you can get for these devices or for the batteries can be really quite good.
Mhm.
And not only can they be quite good, you can get different varieties.
Yep.
So you can get, really bright ones, work lights that light an entire area, or just a
Mhm.
small
Yeah,
one.
a nice even flood for, working on an area or, real tight spots or adjustable ones, magnetic ones. I love those because you can stick them up underneath your hood and you can actually see what you're working on.
Yep. Yeah, here's an example of one of the
Yeah.
rigid lights.
Yeah, so it's got
And
that swivel head on top so you can angle it.
yep, I actually really like the low powered ones as far as a, preparedness device
Yes.
because they're directional enough that you get a decent flashlight. You can just point them at the ceiling in a room and be able to see what you're doing still.
Yep.
And you put a 4 or 8 amp hour battery on it, and it's going to last for,
Forever.
yeah,
Oh, so long.
yep.
Well, in general, like even with like this little guy, where's the camera? There's the camera. Even with this little guy, so it's got two different modes. It's got the high and the low. I typically run it on low because I end up fighting all of the reflections.
Hmm.
And so I like having the lower settings just so that I can actually see what I'm looking at and not just see the reflection of my, mini spotlight.
Yeah. Well, I'd say most decent flashlights at this point, um, they're going to be USB rechargeable.
Yes. Thankfully,
So
wonderfully.
again, you get that USB cap on your battery and you can recharge your battery or your flashlights over and over again.
Yep.
Um, or again, you can just get some type of work light where the battery actually mounts to the light itself. Um, that's probably going to be the most efficient, but
Yeah.
Um, is it convenient for you or not? But like I've got two different work lights. I've got a big bright one and I've got a um, little desktop one, like what I was just showing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And depending on the situation, one or the other could be the right one.
Sure. I mean, yeah,
So,
like DeWalt has, you know, this style. So it just kind of opens up and just lights up a whole room. And then you have the additional benefit of being able to recharge your phone as you
yep.
go. So yeah, there's a lot of options there. Oh, we're fighting each other.
Shouldn't give
Where
us
does
both access,
I
right?
know, right? Where's the square one? I like the square one. There, that one.
You're
I
there.
like that one. There we go.
All right. Um, okay. So we've kind of covered lights, which is really it's a big category. But there's not a ton to say about it. It's fairly self-explanatory, but
It is.
your one drill battery can keep you going as far as lights for a very long time if you're set up right for it.
Yep.
Another one is portable fans. And a lot of these little fans, you might, in a power outage and you don't have air conditioning, you might need a fan to try to keep cool,
Yeah.
um, or for multiple other reasons, just for moving air around. There's a lot. Basically, every company has their own portable
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
fan, but a lot of those fans also have built-on lights or
Yeah.
built-in USB charging stations as well.
Yes. I was looking, my buddy Will Copeland, he was on the podcast. He was working on this tiny house and he was working up in the rafters and it was, blistering hot because, this is an unfinished house and so there's no air conditioning, there's no airflow. And so I went searching and I found it like mounts to your belt and blows air up underneath your shirt. I was
Yep.
this is brilliant. And I finally found it and then he finished up the house. I was like, oh, it's like I was going to get you this, but so Will, if you're listening,
He tried.
when your birthday comes around, I'll get you.
Oh,
I'm already prepared.
yep. So here's an example. It's Ryobi. They've actually got, I think, 4 or 5 different types of fans,
Nice.
with different features and things. Of course, they've got way too much variety, but just as an example, so people can see what that would look like. So you could set that by your bed or by your couch if you're sitting around during the day and just need something.
Yep.
But those are a great preparedness thing to have around. Animals too. If you've got rabbits
Yeah.
and you need to keep them cool and it's a really hot day and they're out where there isn't power, now
There you
you've
go.
got an option.
Yep.
If you need to help dry something off that's kind of remote. So lots of ways to use those fans, but they're fairly inexpensive, usually around $50 or so for
Yeah.
most of
Right.
them. So let's talk about tools in emergency like rescue and repair.
Ooh. Okay. I like that.
Um, Mentioned it a little bit with just the idea of having a chainsaw in your car,
Yeah.
because you can even get like little chainsaws, handheld
Yeah.
chainsaws.
Little tiny little guys. Yeah.
Yeah, like 8-inch
Uh-huh.
chainsaws. Um, and they work fine for what they're for. So having something like that, like I said, I had my pole saw in my car, but
Hmm.
it could be one of those little handheld ones as well.
Oh yeah. Well, and
Um,
that's a nice thing with the from a manufacturer standpoint. If you can make that little tiny thing, you can make easily because it's electric. You can put a pole on it and you can turn it into a pole saw really easy.
mhm.
You can figure out how you can swap out the bar length, and so you can throw a longer chain on it pretty easily. So there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of systems that are just really good to have. Yeah, it's good
I
to use.
haven't seen it. Haven't seen this on a brand I know, like a major brand yet,
Hmm.
but there's a lot of kind of like third party brands or off brands that are making an extendable pole and then several different tools that can clip onto the end of it.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah,
it's essentially a battery connector at either end
yeah,
of the
and you can
pole.
put whatever. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah,
so you
it's
can
like
put like a little Sawzall on it or,
right.
the handheld, um, chainsaw or
That's true because yeah, reciprocatings are have different. strengths,
Mhm.
and versus a chain based. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
I actually really like, so you can get from, how is it? Milwaukee makes a pruning blade
Yeah,
that's it's like a hardened pruning blade. So you'll know it's a good one when they don't have paint on them. You just can see the metal
just
and
yeah, right.
the hardened teeth.
Yeah,
Those cut through things like crazy. And I actually keep those on my Sawzall for that purpose.
sure.
But they make a really nice clean cut, so you can actually use it for pruning your trees in your orchard.
Oh, yeah, nice. That
Mhm.
good application. Oh, this is a good comment. Yeah, I have had several ports, USB ports fail. And I would agree that the solder does seem to be weak on some of the. Um, I've noticed it more on like the Chinese import stuff. Not as much on the you know Conus stuff. Um, but yeah, no, the USB ports are definitely the weak point in that equation.
Yeah, agreed. I think
Is it enough of an issue where I wouldn't recommend it still? No, I would still recommend it, but it is something to be aware of. That's one of the things I typically scour reviews to try to, well, one, to figure out if the reviews are legit, but look for commonalities like, hey, we have a USB failure, as a common in a lot of the reviews. Okay, now I'm going to lean away from that one.
yep. And it seems to be USB-C I've found to be a lot better than the old, micro
Yes,
USB.
micros were definitely much finickier. Is that a word?
Finicky is.
I know finicky is like finickier. Like, I'm not sure if that works.
That doesn't
Anyway,
roll off the tongue.
it does not. It's that.
Sure. Yeah, I've found that to be the case too. You have to, like, a lot of times I even had really high quality stuff where you'd have to, like, put just the right pressure on it
Right.
to make it charge, like,
Oh, yeah.
having old.
I've had to, like, tape them down where where it has that just that little oomph, and, "Okay, now it works. It's good. We're
Mhm.
good. Don't touch it. Don't touch it." It's like
Rocky Pine's another, something that could fix the issue or compound it depending on what you're using. So if it's something that you carry in your pocket, it might compound it. If it's something that sits on a desk, may fix it. But um, you can get these little plugs, and they
mm,
push in for like USB-C, and then they have a magnetic
yes.
connection,
I
and so you
love
can
mine.
leave it. Yeah, you can leave it plugged into the device, and then you just magnetically click onto that. So you don't have that physical connection where if you bump the cable, it just breaks off. Um,
Yeah, I use, anytime where I have, like, for, like, cameras. So, like, for my action cam, my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema, I don't want the port to get damaged ever, and so in order to isolate those, I'll run it, like, in a small rig or something like that to isolate it, and then I'll use a port extender.
mhm,
And I found those magnetic ones. Oh, it was a lifesaver. Like, it's so much easier, so I leave one end connected to my computer on a USB extension. And so whenever I'm finished filming, I'll just grab that thing and just sticks right to it. And the other
nice.
side of it, I have on my microphone for my wireless lapel mic. And
Mhm,
so I can go from, being mic'd up, pop that off to uploading the raw video file instantly. It's great.
nice. Yeah, the one caution I would have is something that you're gonna put in your pocket
Yeah, I wouldn't do
or
that.
that has, like, a door where you have to have the door open to put that in.
Yep.
So, like, a flashlight would be a example of both those things.
Yeah.
It's
Let's not do that.
You wouldn't use it there. Yeah,
Agreed.
mag connectors as, Rocky Pines notes. Um, it's basically, what do they call those on Mac?
Uh,
Don't use it.
MagSafe. Is
Yes,
that the
MagSafe.
Apple's allergic to me, so I don't know. I don't do I don't do
I'm
Apple
allergic to
products.
Apple.
Apple products just stopped working around me. I don't know what it is. Did the
Uh,
same thing in the hospital.
yeah, my issue is that, like, if I can get in there and manipulate things, I can usually find some way around whatever issue I'm having.
Right.
Macs, it's like, "No, you can't do that. You don't
Yeah.
have privileges."
You can't do anything. I'm like, well,
Right?
why do I want this product? Why do I want to spend this much money?
Because it just works, Jared.
It just
Just
works. I
works.
know. And I will grant them. They're end user engineered, and it is it's an ecosystem, and I appreciate the thought that goes into that and the amount of resources and time that into that engineering. I really do appreciate it. It's just not for me. I like being able to tweak stuff. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
So, on the topic, because we got a little bit off here, but on the
That's okay.
topic of tools for emergency repairs or rescue,
Yeah.
so we talked a little bit about chainsaws, and reciprocating saws or sawzalls, as people tend to call them. In some
Yes.
places, saws.
What?
Um,
No.
you haven't
No.
heard that yet?
No.
Yeah,
That's wrong.
yeah. If you ever want to find it, it's entertaining. Go on like Facebook Marketplace and type in saw and see what comes up.
Oh, that
Yes,
hurt
it is
my
wrong.
head.
Anyhow, you can get blades on those that are meant for like demolition.
Yes, they're
So
awesome.
yeah, and so they'll cut through nails and basic metal and
They
things.
don't care. Yeah.
Right. Which can
Masonry.
be great.
Yeah.
Not quite masonry typically, but
Not
yes.
quite. But yeah.
But if you need to get in somewhere where a chainsaw isn't going to work because you've got nails and things,
Yep.
or you need to, you can punch through a drywall wall pretty quickly with one of those.
Yep.
Um, so that can be really useful. Angle grinders.
I
Uh,
love my angle grinder that is battery powered.
yeah,
It's the greatest thing ever.
I don't know if you've found this yet, but I found diamond covered cutoff wheels.
They're
So,
awesome.
yes,
Yeah, they just cut through whatever. Like
yeah,
they
and
don't care.
gone are the days that those stupid things explode in your face. You know,
Oh, seriously. I've embedded them into my shirts, into my aprons, into my headgear. Yeah,
yeah,
no, we're not doing that anymore. We're just
yeah. So you can
straight
get these
diamond.
really cool metal diamond cutoff wheels. They do cut a little bit wider swath,
They do.
um, so keep that in mind. But they're great because you can cut anything metal. You can cut masonry, so
Yeah.
cement and things.
Yep.
Um, but you can also cut locks or chains or fences or whatever.
Yeah.
Of course, legally, not stealing things, but
Nope.
in an emergency, if you need to get through a gate and
You
there's
can
a
get through a
lock on
gate
it, you can get through a gate. So,
because most people don't, just roll around with an oxyacetylene torch. So yeah, you
right.
you can have a DeWalt with a with a diamond blade.
Angle grinders are a little more practical,
I love them.
more
That
portable.
and Portaband. If you ever played around with a Portaband, love those
Mhm.
too. Those are
Those are great.
fantastic. They're more cumbersome and harder to get into certain angles just because of their physical structure, and that's why angle grinders are by far my favorite. But Portabands are also awesome.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing preparedness wise with an angle grinder is you can use them to sharpen tools.
Yes, you can.
So, I mean, you're not going to get
It's
a
not gonna be great,
shave
but it'll work.
shave sharp axe or something, but you can get what you need done, which is really handy.
Yep,
Um,
absolutely.
so water and sanitation was one of the other categories we
Yeah.
had here. Um, water transfer pumps are something that you can get with these battery systems.
Yes.
Have you seen those?
Yeah, well, so I was actually just looking at one. It chucks up onto a drill, but then that led me down the rabbit hole of like, wait, they have direct drive ones that run right off the battery, so I don't even have to. Like, this is
Mhm.
great. So yeah, if you've got a rain barrel, you can still pump water out of it. If you need to get fuel out of a fuel tank that you don't have access to otherwise, you can get fuel out of a fuel tank. Yeah, whatever. They're great.
Yeah, Milwaukee makes, I think, a couple different types. So does Ryobi. I think DeWalt's somewhat limited on what they have, but like
I haven't
Milwaukee,
seen a
for
lot.
example.
Official ones, I haven't seen a lot. There's a huge, aftermarket, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, DeWalt has a giant aftermarket on pumps, but with Milwaukee, they've got a stick pump, which means you can stick it down in something. So you have about 3 feet of length where you
Okay.
can just push it down in. So it's a stick transfer pump, and then they have a standard transfer pump where you hook a hose to either end of it. Um,
Nice.
and those can be great for all kinds of things. Like, let's say you've got a flooding basement and your sump pump won't work because power's out.
Yeah.
So
Or
now you've got a way.
you don't really want to have line power in a flooding environment like a basement.
True. Yeah,
So
I mean, water gets high enough up and your GFCI trips, or
yeah,
you turn it off because you don't want to get
because you
shot.
don't want to risk that. Yeah.
Right.
So
Um,
having a small, little battery powered unit really is preferred.
yeah. Or I've had places where I've had to dig a hole and
Mm,
the hole was filling in with water faster than I could dig
faster
it
than you
out.
could. Yes. Right. That's
And so
annoying.
those can be, yeah, those can be really helpful for that. Um, so there's a lot of situations where those transfer pumps can be really beneficial.
Mhm. Yeah. And like imagine you don't want to be at the water supply with the water filtration system. Being able to pump it up the bank and have your setup on the hillside um, is much preferable. There you go. Yeah, so there's your Ryobi little pump. So I'm assuming right on the side there is a outlet for hose. Is
Yeah,
that
it's a
what
hose. It's
okay?
gonna be a 3/4 inch hose
Oh, okay.
connector. Yep.
Yeah.
And the same for the other side, so you can run one hose in, one hose out,
Yeah.
um,
Super
which is
easy.
perfect. Yep.
Yeah.
And so it's great for preparedness, but also if you've got water storage, water tanks, and you want to move the water to somewhere, or uh, power's been out, water's been out for a week, and you want to shower,
Yeah.
you
Right.
can you could set one of these up as a shower. So lots of things you can do with them, but they're pretty handy, and it's pretty cool what you can actually do with, and how many different options there are of
Yeah.
you know of these different tools and things that you can get that just plug into these batteries that work really
Which
well.
you probably already have in your garage. So
Right.
yeah, for just a and maybe you don't buy them all at once. Please, be fiscally responsible. But maybe you set aside $50 a month that you can say, hey, this month I'm doing a water transfer pump. Next month I'm going to get a small pole saw, and just incrementally. Yeah,
I say payday loan and just buy them all at once.
don't
They're
do
easy
that.
to pay back. It's an investment, right?
I like my knees intact. Thank you very much.
So another thing preparedness wise that you can do with these batteries, there's some different options for heating. So,
Oh yeah,
um, Jared, have you ever used like a heated blanket or a heated jacket
gloves.
or anything? Gloves?
For motorcycle riding, and that's where I was introduced to it. Was a bunch of old gold wingers were like, oh man, yeah, I was out for a ride. I'm like, it is 12 degrees outside. What do you mean you're out for a ride? He's like, oh yeah, and he shows me his jacket, and he's got like tubes plugged into it so it blows air through his jacket, and he's got electrical connectors in his gloves. I'm like, what in the he was a walking air conditioner, well, heater. Like, okay, this is brilliant. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, you can have heated socks, you can have heated gloves, you can have a heated, vest, you can get a full jacket, you can get all kinds of things. It's great. I love
Yeah.
it.
Heated insoles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So your toesies don't get frostbitten.
Yep. Yeah. I think one of the things that we don't, the way that we have always addressed energy and heating is heat the space you're in.
Yeah, right.
And air is like the worst
The
way to keep your
worst.
body warm ever.
Really
Um,
is bad.
because not only does the air not transfer that heat well to you,
No,
um,
yeah.
it also dissipates easily. It transfers through the walls. It is
Goes
just
everywhere
inefficient.
you don't want it to go.
So there's absolutely no way you could even touch the temperature of a room with a drill battery.
Yeah, no, ain't happening.
But if you've got insulation on and then you've got some type of heater inside that insulation on your personal body,
Now we're talking.
yeah, it can be 0 degrees in your house, and besides the pipes freezing, you're physically okay because you've got some type of heating mechanism against
Yeah.
you.
Well, and think about from an efficiency standpoint. In an electrical system, where's our efficiency lost? It's through heating.
Mhm.
So in a heating circuit, there is very little loss. It is a very efficient means of heating.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So heat is the basically the lowest form of energy.
Yeah,
So
it's just raw.
at least Newtonian physics says.
You're right.
Um, but yeah, it's basically the raw leftover after using energy in other ways.
Mhm.
Um, so it should be able to be fairly efficient, but you have to contain it, and that's what
That's
something
it.
like a heated blanket does. You put a
Yep.
heated blanket on you, you put another blanket over that, and
Or
it'll
you come
keep you
by
warm all night.
Resilient Living and buy, one of my survival blankets.
Yes. There you go. Yep. Yeah, anything to keep that radiant heat against your body instead of going somewhere else.
Yep.
You're gonna drive up the efficiency and how long you can use that, how well it works pretty dramatically.
Oh, massively, massively. Yes.
And that can be so that's US those are almost always USB.
Mhm.
So sometimes they'll come with their own pack, other times you just use your own because it's gonna be bigger, better, do more.
Yeah.
So
And their pack is probably gonna be USB chargeable because
right,
most everybody has gone to the standard because it's the standard,
right.
which is
But,
wonderful.
let's say you're using a USB powered blanket, but you also it's cold in your house and your head's getting cold.
Mm.
Well, if you've got one of these that has multiple plugs in it,
Yeah.
you could hook up I don't know, a USB or, a heated hat because those
Yeah, or
exist as well.
headbands and yeah, right.
Yep.
Throw a beanie
So,
on or whatever. Do you call
yeah,
them beanies? I call them beanies. What do you call them?
if it's just a
Toboggan?
no,
You're not
no,
one of
it'd be
them.
a beanie if it's just a straight hat, I
Okay.
guess. I don't know, something like that. Yeah, that's
Some of those northern states call things weird things, so I wasn't sure if you're
yeah, like Wisconsin calling a drinking fountain a bubbler.
Yeah, what is up with that? Why?
There's an explanation. I
I'm sure
forget
there
why,
is.
but
There's always
yeah.
a story. It's
It's like Kohler invented it, and that's what they called it, so kinda like
ah,
Kleenex. Like, why do
sure,
we call
right.
Kleenex Kleenex?
Or Sawzall.
Or Sawzall. Yeah.
Uh,
So,
it's funny.
um, another kinda like broad category that you can use these batteries with is communications, but Jared, this
Yes.
is your realm, so I'm gonna let you take the helm.
No, that's fine. And wonderfully, whether it's a silly little blister pack, whatever, or Baofeng or something that's actually nice. Um, most of them are USB chargeable. Now, there are quite a few people rocking around with like an old Baofeng UV5R, which is a great solid little radio, but they're not USB Type C. You have to have the cradle. But Baofeng has made the replacement batteries that are increased capacity and have USB-C ports. And if you come by Resilient Living, you can pick one up. Um, Shameless plug.
Go
Because
for it.
I've had several people come in like, oh yeah, I've got UVs because I've got a the 17 and then now the 32, which I've been loving the 32. I'll get into that in a minute. Um, but they're like, yeah, I've got the 5R, which is a great radio. I don't really need to replace it. I'm like, no, that's totally fine. But have you considered, replacing your battery? Because one, your battery's probably getting pretty tired. Because most of those are, decade-ish old. That batteries don't really like to live that long. And so I can give you a one with a increased capacity with a USB-C port on it, and it's from Baofeng, so their warranty still covers it. So it's still good. So yeah, no, it's by far the best solution. I love having USB Type C.
Just to
So
interrupt you for a minute. This is great.
I
I
asked
asked
Alexa
Alexa when the apocalypse will happen. She didn't know.
because she's planning it. She's not going to let you in on the details.
Yeah, she's not allowed to tell you.
Yeah, right. You got to trick her. Like,
So, you had mentioned so you were talking about, the Baofeng, I'm
yeah,
probably saying that wrong,
that's
radios.
right.
Um, and, if you have a cradle and your battery's good and all that, you could also use one of those little, inverter
Little inverter,
hoods on
yeah,
your so
which works.
mhm, it
But
works, it's not
most
efficient.
of my clients are out and about. They're farmers and ranchers, they're hunters, and so they don't wanna carry extra stuff with them. So that's where I did the research. I was like, "Okay, what kind of a solution can I come up with for these guys?" And when I saw that you could do direct USB, I'm like, "Okay, now you've already got a brick, or you can buy one of my little solar panels because a little 15-watt solar panel is fairly inexpensive,
Mhm.
really small, and completely enough power to recharge that kind of a battery easily."
Yeah, I mean, those are those are a kind of a brilliant 1-2 solution, right? You've got
Yeah.
a little 15-watt solar panel with USB out,
Yep.
and you've got a radio, and you can, I mean, even if you wanted to, if you're gonna leave your radio in your car,
Yeah.
you could leave the solar panel on the dash and your radio under the, on the floorboard or something.
You can even run from the solar panel directly into the cigarette lighter and keep your car's battery topped off.
Yeah. Yeah, assuming it's not a switched.
Assuming
But
that, yes, which
yeah.
the newer ones, some of them are, but yeah, right.
Yeah, that's really cool because 'cause I've looked into, for maybe 35 bucks, you can get a really simple setup that'll keep a lead acid battery charged. But they're kinda clunky. So if you pay a little bit more,
Yeah,
they
you get a
I
cleaner.
yeah, yeah, cleaner, nicer setup that's kinda all in one.
Yeah,
Um,
right, yeah.
but it's great for, remote, electric fences or,
Mhm.
I don't know, a radio repeater if you
Yeah,
wanna
right. Well, and
set
so,
that up.
yeah, so maybe you don't have a GMRS license or a ham license, and you don't wanna do, direct communication. Maybe you just want to know what's going on. So maybe you're just going to listen. So you could set up a small, oh, what are those the little USB ones called? Software defined radio,
Oh, yeah.
SDR.
Yep.
You could do a small SDR with like a Raspberry Pi, and build up as like a scanner really easily. Or $100 on Amazon, you can get a little standalone system. Basically, it'd be like a Raspberry Pi with an SDR in it for easily, and that would be USB. And so now
Mhm.
you can at least be aware of what's going on in the world. Or one of the emergency radios that does AM, FM, shortwave, whatever else, CB, and just listen only. Um, those are really easy to come by and, you know, USB chargeable.
Yep.
A lot of them come with like, hand cranks and solar panels. Um, but
Which are
then,
useless.
yeah, I have one, I had one sitting in my windowsill for like weeks and it finally got full. Now I have UV filtering glass. So it's starting off on a bad foot, but it was there for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, the low E glass probably isn't
No, it
helping
really
matters,
doesn't.
but,
No, no.
and I'm talking the really cheap little crank radios, and,
Yeah,
you can listen while you crank, and
it takes a while. You have to crank for a while before you can even turn it on.
yeah.
Okay, so this is a fun rabbit hole to delve down. So, do you keep your items in a Faraday type cage, or bag? I don't. Um, I have a couple of reasons why I don't, but I do have them, and I have tested them, with various amplifiers and receivers and stuff. Um, but the reason I don't is because of where I'm physically located.
Mhm.
When we bought our place, I was rather intentional about looking at potential targets, and I'm not in one or near one. And so I'm not super concerned about needing a Faraday cage.
Why don't we fill people in just a little bit in case they're not aware
Okay.
what an EMP would
What
look like,
EMP
because
is, yes.
and
Okay.
and where, like, so for us, grid would go down in an EMP, but it'd be unlikely that we'd be impacted by the brunt of the actual EMP. So do you wanna explain that a little bit?
Yeah. Okay. So the theory goes that in the event of a nuclear detonation, there is a pulse of electromagnetic energy, and that pulse would overwhelm the grid, and cause mostly it'd be all the fusible links, in the grid to pop, um, all of it at once, basically. But what it also can do, and what this individual's referring to about asking about the Faraday cage, is it could blow out the circuitry in small electronic devices. So your cell phones, your laptops, your ham radios, your whatever's, could go poof, and the magic smoke would get released and no more function. Um, but like I said, where I'm physically located isn't near any prospective targets. So if you live in and around the DC area, that might be a concern. If you're around New York City, that might be a concern, because you're physically located in close proximity. Yes, there could be nuclear fallout. That's a whole nother conversation. We're talking about iodine tablets and your thyroid and all that, but we're talking about electromagnetic radiation. So yeah, that's my rationale for not putting myself inside of a cage. You have thoughts?
Yeah, I actually wholeheartedly agree. It's not that you shouldn't use an EMP bag or a
Mm,
Faraday bag or cage, but there's a lot of nuance into how they work, why they work, what they work for.
yes.
And yeah, like you said,
Because
depending on your
it's an
location.
indiscriminate, emission, so it's not like it's broadcasting a specific frequency, it's all frequencies, like all frequencies, and most of those tests are done at specific frequencies,
Mhm.
and it's not a good test. That's why I got the bags myself because I'm like, I understand how this works from a physics standpoint, so I know that these tests are kind of invalid because of how they're being conducted. Because I've looked at the test results and I looked at their test methodology and I'm like, that doesn't work, guys. That's not how atom bombs work. That's not how EMPs work. And there's other ways of producing EMPs aside from atomic, but yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and then there's the question of, do you ground it? Do you not ground it? Do you, like
Right.
it keeps going and going and going. But if you're not living in a near a really, really major metro center and likely near the coasts, you're probably not especially in danger of an EMP. Now, coronal mass ejection,
That's different.
yeah, that's different, but
A CME, that's a whole nother, yeah.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
you're not going to block that. You're not going to avoid that.
No.
And I don't know what a Faraday cage is actually going to do in that case either, or if there's anything else left to even, somebody else having a radio to use, right? So,
Right. Yeah. And at that point, like, and that's kind of the whole purpose of this podcast and my business and your business is making people more resilient in the event of. Because if
yep,
something did happen like that, and we know how to grow food and raise animals and live in community, nothing really changed. Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult to do those things, but we're still capable of doing those things.
yep. Yeah. So, collectible of the day said, I'm in Long Island, so close enough to NYC. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that may be something that you would want to buy something that is more robust. There's a couple brands out there. I'm blanking on the brand names that are better tested. Don't get just whatever on Amazon. That's not gonna, because the most of the users tests is, yeah, I put my cell phone in there and I tried to call it and it didn't work. That's not a good test. That's
No.
not going to tell you whether it's going to survive an EMP. Um, Having a sufficient attenuation to the RF frequencies that are specific to cellular, that's such a small sliver of the electromagnetic spectrum that's really not going to tell you a lot.
Yeah, that's basically just testing microwaves within the
Yeah,
microwave spectrum, and that's why you can sometimes stick your phone in the microwave
in the
and it doesn't
microwave,
work, or it doesn't get,
right?
doesn't get Wi-Fi anymore or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
In the microwave, so all of this comes down to super complex RF theory and understanding, at what frequency does that pulse pass through a mesh or
Mhm.
even a solid body, and at what level, at what decibel level. So
Yeah. Yeah, how much
there's
are
a
you
lot.
attenuating that signal? And yeah, and going back to grounding it, and if you have it shunted to ground, that attenuates it differently than if it's floating. And yeah, and there is a lot of theory on there. I want to say it was Brass Facts did a really good video on YouTube about EMP, because he read through the whatever that government study was that said everybody's going to die. I'm like, well, like, you're exaggerating this, because it
Right.
was based off of a 1950s report. It's like, you couldn't do anything more recent than 1950s. Like, really? Anyway, so what else we got? EMPs
So
are
Rocky
one
Pine
second
says,
after. Yeah.
yeah. And I have not read that one. My understanding is that's a fiction book that kind of gives a
It's a
portrayal of what would
scenario
happen.
based, if I remember right. It's been a long time since, and I only read part of it.
Yep.
Um, But yeah, it was, yeah, it was all right. It was all right.
Yeah, I think one of the issues is writers will build up a scenario to
Mhm.
do a fictional story, and sometimes they do a great job on researching, and sometimes they take something that's easy to sensationalize and run with it.
Right.
So it could give you some ideas, but I would also be careful, just because I've seen a lot of misinformation, especially in the kind of like preparedness
Yes, unfortunately.
literature that in fictional literature that is not helpful in people actually preparing properly for their given situation.
Mhm. Yeah, no, you're far better off learning the stuff that we talk about, weekly of like how to grow stuff and how to be a good person and you're right, like how to
Yeah.
live in community with each other and how to lean on one another, not to be this isolating lone wolf. I'm prepared for the end of the world. I've got, 50,000 MREs and a, and a Gatling gun. Like is that the really the world you wanna live in, for one?
Yeah, do you
Like,
wanna live that way?
is that yeah, it's just gonna be you on a mountaintop with a bunch of MREs and a gun and that's it? Like, is that what life is it, looks like to you? Like, that doesn't sound fun. I'd much rather, see my grandkids grow up. Yeah, it might be different. They might go to school in a horse and carriage, that but, oh well, they're going to school and learning stuff, or, they're working the farm. That's the world I wanna live in. So I'm gonna do whatever
Yeah.
I can to learn the to do what I need to do to live in that life and to teach my kids that.
Yeah, and to the extent that we can step towards that now and live a more balanced, simpler life,
Yep.
it's gonna take a little bit of sacrifice, um, but, you're trying to build a good life, whether things go really well or things go really poorly. You wanna have that balance, like, if anybody here is familiar with Doomsday Prepper, the TV show,
Oh, yes.
um, people would get in their mind some specific scenario and then,
Yep.
like, plan for that,
Yep.
and they'd, like, take out credit card debt to buy MREs because they were so sure the world was gonna collapse, and it's not. I think that there is going to be some type of collapse in the next 5 to 10 years, or at least major change.
Sure.
Um, I mean, it's clear we're going through major change right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
That's a
but
normal aspect of any culture is going through those growth cycles. And I mean, yeah, it could collapse and completely look different in 15 years. Absolutely.
and I think we're looking at. I mean, I think we're in the midst of a fourth turning type event.
Mhm.
We're so far over our skis financially globally. Um, and what does that mean if you understand how the global financial system works? How do you make a reset or a great reset or whatever it might be? So there's stuff coming, but
Mhm.
preparing for one eventuality is going to leave you worse off.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Because I guarantee you, it doesn't matter what you think it's going to be. It's not going to be what you think it is. Um, and I see what we're doing not just as being prepared for those eventualities, but also shaping what will be. If
Mhm.
we as a culture, the book portrayed the community as well. Oh, good. I didn't, like I said, I did not read very far into it, so that's good. At least that the book did a good job of portraying communities. But no, if we as a culture redefine what it is to be successful, redefine what it is to, what food actually is, what is actually valuable, and if we can help that, then the world will be better. We can make the world better, not just survive it, but actually thrive in it. If we can redefine what it is that life is about, it's about
Mhm.
having, contributing to society. It's about living this life that God's called us to live. It's about taking care of ourselves and our families and our community. Like, what's the downside of that again? Like,
Mhm.
it's not being a doomsday prepper. It's like, no, I'm just preparing for the world that I'm trying to create.
Yeah. I think that, as a doomsday prepper, there's this inherent um, isolatory concept
Yes.
and
Very
inherent,
lone wolf.
yeah, individualism, which,
Yeah.
to those who maybe were raised more conservative, that doesn't necessarily sound bad. But the problem is that there's this inability to marry the understanding of working with other people in community
Yeah.
and how somebody else's skills and understanding will lead to a better outcome for everyone if we're working together. But it's a voluntary based working together. You know,
Yes.
there's no overlord who forces you to work together,
No.
who, takes your money and gives it to somebody else to work together. It's you choose to do it. And when somebody needs a hand up, you know that person and you know that they're a good person who actually needs help.
Yeah. You
And
care
that's
about
where
them.
that's where community comes in.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like, I mean, it's what insurance should be.
Yeah. Right.
Like insurance is this concept of we've got a pool of people and we diversify the risk over that pool.
Mhm.
But the
Well, I mean,
incentives never work
you
out
can do
well.
it with, so my health insurance is through Christian Healthcare Ministries, which is me basically directly paying for another member's medical bills, just
Mhm,
straight up paying for it. Um, and so that's what I pay every month. I'm not paying to this pool and it just makes other people rich. It's no, I'm actually paying for so and so's medical bill
mhm,
every month. That's what I'm paying,
right.
which is a great system. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But that's not really the question. It's that's what we're working towards. We're working towards that type of a environment where we take care of each other, like I don't know, God intended us to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's really it is the model of the early church,
Yes,
which we have missed, and
they
maybe
sold
I'll
their things and they gave to those who were in need.
yeah, yeah, and it wasn't, I think a lot of people see that and they you put it into terms like that and they go, "Oh, sounds like communism."
It's like, no,
Like,
it's people taking care of people.
it's
And okay, so even that chapter of Acts, that was in a very unique environment. They were in Jerusalem.
mhm,
That wasn't a permanent place. They had gathered together for Pentecost. They were a whole bunch of sojourners
yeah,
and they were going to go home. So while they were there, they were taking care of each other and then they
mhm,
went home. It wasn't like a permanent, settlement, communistic settlement that they were
right.
creating. That's not what was established.
When it wasn't like Peter was saying, "You'll all pay tithes to me and I'll give it out." Right?
Right? No, go
Um
take care of each other.
Yeah, it was person to person. It was taking care of your community, taking care of your family. It was people who either knew each other or were willing to take the risk personally to
Yeah.
help someone out. So, and I could rant for forever on the
I think
modern
we
church
both
and
can.
yeah, and the way that it's set up because it's too big. Even a lot of the churches we would consider, small to medium churches are way too big and they've got a top-down leadership structure that just doesn't work.
Mhm.
Um, and it's not, during COVID, one of the things that I realized and felt like was really important was that people start doing church as the church was meant to be done. And
Mm.
that's in homes with each other,
Yeah.
sharing their lives together. And um, because you can't shut that down. Government can try as
Right.
hard as they want.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
no,
shut
you
that
can't.
down. So it's just I don't know. It could be a giant rant, but on the community front, small community that is that really works with each other and knows each other,
Yeah,
and you're not going to start there. You're going to start not knowing each other well, but you've
right.
got to move into that.
Well, and, spurring off of the early church, the churches were geographically located. They were literally your neighbors. And
Mhm.
that's something that we really need to get back to, and actually speaking to Rocky Pine's point here, where community equals tool sharing, is if I know my neighbor and say I can call him up and say, "Hey, I need a fill in the blank." He's like, "Oh yeah, I've got that. Yeah, come on over. Come,
Mhm.
send your boy down. He'll come and grab it for me." E- We need to get back to that. We need to get back to knowing our neighbors and having that community. It's you need to borrow a tractor, bro. I will lend you my tractor. That is a heck of a drive, though.
Yep. Unless you move back.
Hey, you could just move back. I'm just saying, you
Yep.
know.
No, to your point, okay, so the picture behind us,
Yeah.
um, going from, well, from my right to left, where you can see the mailbox, if you keep heading up that hill, that's my neighbor's house.
Yeah.
And they're quite a ways up there and maybe 800 feet or so.
Okay.
Um, I built out a chicken coop and run for them, and they've
Okay.
got 10 chickens. It's 2 of
Nice.
them. They each eat like an egg a day.
Okay. Sure.
So when we run out of eggs and our chickens decide to not lay enough and we've got, we eat like 1 to 2 dozen a day.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. We can just send the kids up the hill, call or text the neighbor, "Do you have any eggs we could get from you?"
Sure.
They refuse to charge us for them, which is amazing. And so our kids just run up with an egg carton and come back with
Sure.
eggs, right? And
Yep.
that's what community does when you build it and you care about your neighbors.
Yep. Absolutely. You need to borrow, what was this? You need to borrow 26 moving truck and a home and a farm.
To move
I don't
back
know.
here.
I don't know if borrow is quite borrow a farm. Yeah.
Good. I guess
I've
that's
got a
what renting is, right?
pasture, it gets kind of wet and mucky in the wintertime, but
Can make do.
oh yeah, I know. You can.
Oh, was there anything we missed?
So I was
We were
just
going
going
down
back.
the
Oh,
comms
can I get
list.
stuck on comms?
You can also keep your internet and Starlink up, obviously,
Starlink. I'm glad you brought that up. This was it the new one, the Starlink Mini or whatever. That sucker
something
is
like that.
awesome. Like there were so many people whose lives got saved because of Starlink and small solar panels and USB chargers after the hurricane ripped through South Carolina. Yeah. Don't yeah, it's absolutely worthwhile to have, and that's kind of all of this. It's like the tools that you already have at your disposal. You don't have to go out and spend a fortune on new stuff because the tools that you already have are preps if you think about them.
Mhm.
If you think about it, it's like, oh, I already have this. I'm just gonna take it with me. Yeah, it's a little bit awkward. So build a bag that goes in your truck or goes under your seat that has, a fair smattering of whatever medical. Have medical, get training, learn to use the stuff. Like you've already got band-aids, you've already got, Bactine or whatever topical ointments. Throw it in a bag. Just have it with you.
Yep,
So
absolutely. Okay, so the last category we had was multi-purpose and miscellaneous. So just kind of odds and ends that didn't
yeah,
necessarily
yeah.
make it into the other categories. One of the ones I put in here, and it was not a go get this, it's a avoid it. Please just avoid it. Is these stupid power stations where you can plug multiple batteries in
Yeah,
and get, like, I don't know, 1200-watt inverter or something.
right.
Um, they're don't use them, please. They're really expensive. You can get way better options.
Yeah, I say if you've already got one, you've already got it. It's sunk cost. But yeah, at this point, don't be spending money on that. You can build. Ryan or I can help you build what you're looking for and for a fraction of the cost.
Yep. And in fact, for all those 4 people watching right now, I just released a video on how to build it's your own do-it-yourself solar generator or mobile power station.
Yeah,
So it's like the entire how to build every single part, order lists, everything. And it's way better than anything you're going to just go and buy because I designed it to actually be charged with solar, which most of these solar generators are not.
ironically aren't. Yes.
Right. Yeah, they call them solar generators and they output at like 2,500 watts and charge at 400 watts.
Oh, geez.
Right. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like that doesn't work. So, anyways, if people are interested, I did just put out a video on that. So,
So if you're not
um,
already subscribed to Ryan's, although you're probably watching it on Ryan's channel, subscribe and you'll get
yep,
all of his latest videos.
absolutely.
There was another one I wanted to jump back to. Collectible had posted a desalinization kit. I don't, but that's because I'm living in Tennessee and we're not exactly near saltwater. I could see why you would want it though. Honestly, I could do the research and I could look into it. I don't have anything and I don't have any recommendations on it. Do you?
Not a specific kit. You can use like tabletop distillers.
Yeah,
So if you've
sure.
got a generator or
It's gonna
something,
make
you
a
can use.
mess out of your distiller, but yeah,
Yeah, it'll leave crusty salt on it, which I guess
which
you
could be
can
useful
scrape off
for.
and use elsewhere. So yeah, it would make a mess. You're right, but there's ways you can do it. You can distill through sunlight as well. There's just look into it a bit. There's actually some fairly simple low tech ways you can do that as well.
Mhm.
Um,
And as far as yeah, prepping for grid down due to storms, I've lived through that. I can't tell you how many times. I remember growing up, we had a snowstorm come through, and we were out of power for a week. Like, and that was not an unusual occurrence where we were just out. Like, and there was a couple 3 foot of snow on all the roads. Nobody went anywhere for a week or more. Um, it happens, and so I get that. So, and that's a lot of what we're talking about here is, when you can have a whole bunch of DeWalt batteries and them take care of, light, circulating air, moving water, doing all of jobs that we're fairly used to being automated, and you can just flip a switch, and then having the solar to be able to recharge those batteries, or having some way of recharging those batteries is a fantastic prep. you're
yep.
you are prepared for a lot of eventualities, if you've got that, and you've got that in mind, that you are prepared. You do have those batteries, you do have those flashlights, you do have those water pumps or whatever. So yeah, no,
Your
I
biggest preparedness tool is between your ears.
that's it.
Yeah, think being able to think critically and realize what else you have that could do the thing you want it to do.
Yeah, and it might
Um,
not be necessarily designed for it,
mhm,
but thinking outside the box, like, well, what moves something in this way, or what, transfers this to that, or what changes this to that. Like, okay, or maybe it's like, oh, well, I have something that does this to this, and I have something else that goes from that to that, and then I uh, when I was in the hospital, I would come up with these daisy chains to get from like one input to an output, and it was bizarre. Like, some of these things I was running through like 6 different interfaces. Hey, got there, it worked ish. It worked enough. Um, you just get creative.
yeah, absolutely. No, there's all kinds of ways of daisy chaining things. I'm currently talking to you through a over a coax cable that is in between my network cables. Because
Nice,
I
I like it.
I was able to acquire thousands of feet of coax,
Yeah, yeah,
of really high grade coax, and I didn't want to buy really high grade direct bury Cat 5.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I didn't want to wait for it either because I could bury it that day. So I'm like, I'll
Done.
bury coax. And then you get little adapters that
Yep.
called Mocha adapters, so you can send your data over your coax. So yeah, lots of ways to do things that you would never think you could. And
Mhm.
if you're just aware of those situations, it's really helpful.
And
Uh,
coming back to community, knowing, like reaching out to your friends, like, hey, you are, telecom. How can I do this? This is what I have at my disposal. And you're like, hey, I actually know how to do that. So
yep.
yeah, community.
Or even for me, yesterday I was talking to another like homesteading consultant because he needed help on figuring out a what was it? Basically water power or hydroelectric, mini hydroelectric.
Cool. Nice.
And he wanted help with calculations and figuring out was it worth it.
Yeah.
Which it's pretty rare that mini hydroelectric is worth it, but
Yeah.
there's a few circumstances. Anyways, he didn't have that skill set, so he reached out to me. And while we're on the phone, my skill set, I mean, I can graft kind of. I know certain things with plants, but that's like his expertise. He's a nursery owner.
Ooh,
And
cool.
so I got to ask him all about different ideas that I had and like, would this actually work? Because Chat GPT has no idea.
Oh, it's
Um,
useless.
right. So, having that community, even amongst people who are really largely considered experts in their field, I have gaps in what I do because it's fairly broad, where I've got other people that I bounce ideas off of and they do the same for me. So,
Yep.
even if you're really competent, having that community who does similar competent things, they're going to have additional ideas within your realm.
Or even just a double check, you're like, hey, I think this is gonna work,
Mhm.
but another set of eyes is never a bad thing.
Yep, absolutely. So one of the things with using power tools that we've been talking about for all these different preparedness situations is if you've got a grid down, how do you recharge them?
Mhm.
So I've got a couple ideas. You want
Okay.
to shoot first?
My pure sine wave inverter and solar panels was
Mhm.
like that. I mean, because that's the most direct and efficient and robust setup. Do
Yep.
you have anything
So to
else?
add to that, another way to do it with solar panels is direct solar.
Yeah, I
So
thought about that. I was like, that's scary to me, but yes, it would
mm,
technically work if you
well, I
matched
don't
them.
mean direct from the panel to the
Oh,
battery.
good. Okay.
Yeah.
Whew.
No,
Ah,
put
like,
a buck converter between the two.
oh, okay,
If
sure.
you have
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
yep. So buck converters, depending on how what amperage you need and voltages, basically they're a DC to DC converter that can take a range of DC voltage input
Yep.
and knock that to or bring that to whatever
To a
voltage you want to
specific
charge it.
voltage output. Yeah.
13.8 volts is probably what you want to output to.
Yep.
Because anything that's rated as 12 volts will work really well at that voltage. If
Any
you get
lead
a 12
acid's
volt,
gonna want that.
yeah.
Most lithiums, they might go as high as 14.8, but not typically, they'll still charge, obviously.
Well, here's the thing. Even like a LiFePO battery, a
Yeah,
lithium iron phosphate,
yeah.
their peak or boost charge is up to like typically up to 14.6,
Mhm.
but they don't rest there.
No,
Their resting voltage is down closer to the 13.8.
13.7. Yeah,
Yeah. So that 13.8 is a great float voltage, even if it's not going to damage your battery is the point.
correct.
And so most of these batteries are designed to charge at around 14 to 14.2 volts because that's kind of what your alternator tends to put out.
Yep.
So they're all kind of designed for that. So if you get a buck converter that has an output of 13.8 volts, that can charge the batteries in your car. You can hook up, you can basically connect a cigarette lighter plug to it.
Mhm.
And so then basically all power tool batteries will have a cigarette lighter charger
Adapter.
system.
Yeah, right.
And so you get one of those, and now you can just set a solar panel out for the day with those couple of things in line and you're charging.
Yep.
The one of the reasons I don't like inverters on direct solar like that is that um, they freak out when they hit wrong voltages and they don't turn back on,
Sure.
a lot of times at least. Whereas or when they turn on, then they turn off again because the voltage drops again. And they just go
The
on and off.
smart ones definitely do. I tend
Yep.
to go towards the dumber
Mhm. Yep.
just because they just work because you throw power at them, they go, "Okay."
Yep. Exactly. But a buck converter is just another way around that. So
Yep.
it's two different directions for the same purpose. Another one is I really like small inverter generators just to have one around,
Yeah,
especially a dual fuel inverter generator.
right.
So you can run them for a little bit, like, I don't know, an hour and have several batteries plugged in to recharge or
Mm,
other things that you need to do. Maybe it's washing a load of laundry. You
yeah,
can
right.
plug that in and run your washer temporarily and then just shut it off. So,
Get
there's the
your
whole
refrigerator down to temp or yeah, right?
yep. Yeah, and so you can use one of those small inverters, do a couple of chores at once, and use very little gas, shut it off, and have what you need again. So you've got your batteries topped off, or your fridge cooled back down, or your freezer cooled back down. But it's not going to run your whole house at once. But instead of being a whole home generator that lasts you like a week and a half
Yeah.
on a lot of stored fuel, it'll last you months and months if you're careful with it on just a little bit of stored fuel.
Yep. And I like a lot of the duals will run propane, granted at a lower, wattage output, but
Yep.
propane's a lot easier to transport. It's a lot easier to fill that little 20-pound tank up than get gasoline sometimes.
Yes, and propane doesn't gum up your
Go
carburetor.
bad.
It
That
doesn't
too.
go
Yep.
bad. It doesn't gum up your carburetor. So you can have, you can legally, I believe, in most states, transport a 100-gallon propane tank. without any
Mm-hmm.
type of licensing,
Right.
and they can legally go up against your home. So you can have one of those sitting there with your generator ready to go.
Ready to go. Yep.
Yep. And your carburetor, you don't have to worry about your carburetor getting gummed up. I mean, I'd still run the unit periodically, but
Oh yeah.
that's one of the big things with generators is the carbs get clogged and then they
Yeah.
don't run when you need them to.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Can't
propane
tell you
solves a lot of
how
problems.
many carb rebuilds I did on generators at the motorcycle shop because we were a Yamaha, dealer. So of
Okay.
course we dealt with Yamaha generators and Honda generators. Are like, oh yay, because every time it's like, hey, this isn't running. Like, yeah, your carb's completely gummed up. It's like absolute veneer in here. It's
Yeah.
varnished to oblivion. It's
Because
have
he
to
stuck
replace it.
ethanol gas in it 2 years ago and didn't use it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, if you can find one that runs propane or nat gas, natural gas is fantastic too. Yeah, the wattage is gonna be a little bit lower. Oh well.
Yeah, it's not that much lower, and
Uh,
depending on what you're doing, if you're not using the generator to its capacity, it's fine.
Yep.
So, yeah, and on generators, somebody I know used to joke that a generator in the box is like Schrodinger's generator.
That's funny.
Hopefully, people get that reference, but basically, the idea is you don't know if you have a working generator unless you open it and start it. But then the problem is if you're using gasoline, then you've just put gasoline in the carb.
Yep. So
So
then you gotta run it completely out, and even still, it didn't really actually run out.
yep. Yeah, that's the issue. So yeah, if you shut off the fuel line, run the generator until it dies, that's the best way to keep it from gumming up. But
Mhm. Yeah, so basically, if you're not familiar with how it works, it's a float bowl, and inside there is it fills up with gasoline, and it draws off of that. And so as it's burning after you've shut off the fuel, it just slowly will empty out. Well, it doesn't actually empty all the way out. There's always that little at the bottom, and that turns into gunk. And
mhm,
over time, it fills up with gunk and makes a mess. Whereas ones that run off of propane or natural gas, because it's already gaseous, it doesn't need to have any of that mechanism. It just feeds it in at a metered rate and it runs much,
yep,
much easier, much cleaner.
absolutely. What do you have any additives that you like that reduce the gunking?
Stable is okay. There was another one we used to sell sometimes. It was, I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what it was. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Seafoam is the one that I've found to be most
Yeah,
useful.
seafoam was all right. I use seafoam to clean the stuck carbs out, so I would imagine it would work pretty well for. I don't know how longevity wise. I don't know how long it would last. Um, yeah,
Rocky Pine Seafoam.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know why they call it that, but that it's one of the few um engine cleaning fluids that I actually
that,
trust to do a
that
decent job.
actually works. Yeah, uh
Mhm.
huh.
And a little
And
bit go ahead.
let's say, yeah. So it does usually bypasses the gasoline carburetor, and it has a metered orifice that feeds directly into the intake manifold.
Yep. Yeah, I will even use seafoam in the oil, like
Mhm.
in an oil pan. Right, I don't do it the entire time, but right before an oil change, if I wanna make
Okay,
sure things are clean,
knock
uh,
everything loose.
yep, I'll run it for, maybe 5-10 minutes with a little bit of seafoam in the oil,
Yeah, you can even
and
suck up a capful in your vacuum lines, and it'll suck it through all of that
oh,
system,
nice.
the evap system.
Yep, cool. So your
Don't
mass
don't
airflow sensor gets a little cleaned off.
don't run do it before or after the mass airflow. They're real
Okay,
touchy. They
okay.
maps and maps don't like to be cleaned with anything other than actual MAF and map cleaners.
Oh, yeah, so he says it's also a great gas additive. Yeah, that's how you
Mhm.
typically use it.
Yep.
And it works great. You'll get a little bit better mileage. It can clean out,
Yeah,
injectors and
it'll
things.
prevent deposits from forming. Yeah, pre-detonation, which isn't pre-detonation isn't nearly as big a deal since we have all the automatic timing and all that now. But back when I was a kid, no, because I grew up, I drove a Corvair, which is if you're familiar, is a air cooled 6 cylinder, kind of like a Volkswagen. So they ran stupid hot, and so they would pre detonate at the drop of a anything. Like they just would pre-detonate all the time because they were designed to run on 107 octane gas. You can't get that unless you're at a racetrack, which I have done, and it's amazing and wonderful. And anyway, um, so you had to retard the timing like massively just to get the sucker to run. And on a hot day, it would ping and pre-detonate. It was horrible. I don't remember why I was telling you all this, but anyway, seafoam, yes, and additives would help a lot for making sure that it didn't ping as badly, because it kept it clean. So, yep.
Nice. Well, I think we're about ready to wrap it. Did you have any other thoughts um, on any of this, on how to use power tools for preparedness, or do you think we've hit everything?
I think we pretty much hit everything. I do recommend everybody just having going through their garage, go find what you got, um, and maybe put some of it in your vehicle so that you have it with you in case of you need it, or yeah, just be aware, take inventory. How about that? Just go through your stuff and do an inventory of what you have available to you, because in an emergency, that's not when you want to be scrambling around to try to figure out what you got.
Correct. Additionally, um, maybe have a workbench with a few chargers on it, and make sure that every time you use a
Or
battery, you
charged.
you pop it off and you charge it to 100%, so you've always got. And suppose there's arguments that that'll kill your batteries faster, but
The newer lithium technologies, that
yeah,
it doesn't. It's
no.
wonderful. NiCads, yes, but lithium, not so much.
Yeah, they usually have a cap on the charging that keeps them from charging to
Over.
the absolute
Yep.
100% anyways. So anyways, yeah, keeping them topped off so they're ready when you need them is probably a really good idea, and just getting in the routine of doing that.
No, I do not have a DeWalt adapter for my guitar. You like my Strat? I like my Strat.
That'd be a boost converter.
Yeah, right. It's for my overdrive.
Yeah, cool. Well, Jared, do you wanna give everybody kinda your rundown, what you do,
Sure.
how they can get a hold of you?
Oh, I can do my banner. There we go. Okay. So you can find me at resilientlivin.com. That's RESILIENTLIVIN.com. So I have a store here in Middle Tennessee, right on 111, halfway between Sparta and Spencer. We sell what we're talking about, preparedness stuff, although not DeWalt batteries, although that would be an interesting offshoot. So I've got books, I've got knives, I've got freeze dried foods, I've got wool blankets and ammunition. I'm working on my firearms license when the government decides to go back to work. Hopefully that will go through. It's kind of in hawk at the moment. So I've got yeah, canning supplies and yeah, just random things, stuff that you need to just be more prepared and to live life more simply. And yeah,
Great first aid kits.
and great first aid kits.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got the hiking and outdoors stuff as well, so,
Yeah,
it's the little clown car of a
it is.
preparedness shop. It's
It's
great.
small, but it's small but mighty. How about that?
Yeah. No, you've done a great job,
Thank you.
putting everything together and making sure that you've got a really good collection of different curated things. So, anytime I drive by, I always make sure to stop and say hi. So,
Yeah. And now I'm
Jared is a wealth of
a
knowledge.
Baofeng dealer, and I just got a thermal and digital night vision scope manufacturer on. So
Nice.
hopefully shortly here we'll have some content going out on that, because I've got a buddy of mine who's we're going to be doing some night shooting and stuff. So
Cool. Well, quick little testimonial. I picked up a couple of Baofangs from you a few weeks ago,
yeah, you did.
and we've been going for walks down our road. And again, knowing your neighbors, having good community, I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
some neighbors who have several hundred acres on our road,
Oh wow.
and nobody really ever goes on it. And I have permission. So we had the radios with, and I turned to my biggest girl, my two oldest kids, and just said, "Do you want to go on an adventure?"
Nice.
And I handed him a radio and I said, "Go down that gully.
Oh yeah.
When you when you hit the power lines, take a left, and we'll see you at home. If you
Ah,
need something, call on the radio. And it
nice.
was it was one of their favorite things in quite some time,
Oh,
uh,
that's
to
awesome.
to get to go on an adventure. They got a little bit lost and they figured it out, and,
Perfect.
next we're gonna be working with compasses, I'm sure, but anyways, we use the Baofeng radios we got from you.
Nice, nice. Well, that's like my kids, they'll go down into the field and on the other side of the tree line, and they just I'm like, "Hey, just take a radio with you. I don't really care. Go." I
Mhm.
mean, we've got like 8 acres or whatever. I'm like, "Just go play, have fun."
That's great. Yep. So, I'm Ryan Steva. I help people set up homesteads, and if you're in Tennessee, I can also do home inspections. So you can find me at thehomesteadconsultant.com, or if you just look up the Homestead Consultant on most of the socials, I'm there. I don't have Facebook yet, but TikTok, um, Instagram, YouTube. YouTube's my big one. If you're listening to this, just hit the subscribe button,
Yeah.
and I've got lots of other content on DIY and how to set up your homestead in a way that is efficient and fun. So that's
Nice.
me in a nutshell.
And I would definitely say, Facebook and YouTube, have been squashing the snot out of all of my content, and I'm probably imagining yours too, Ryan. So,
Mhm.
um, if it, if you can like, share, subscribe, send it to your friends. If you know people who are into preparedness or whatever, invite them to come and subscribe and watch the live streams or whatever. So, yeah,
Yeah, help us out.
yeah,
Absolutely. Well, Jared, thanks for being here with me, and thanks everybody
absolutely.
for sticking with us. It's great to have all these. I mean, we got a ton of comments. You
I
guys
know
are
it's been
you're
great.
going crazy. So, all right, thanks everybody, and have a good night.
I